Hey everyone, I'm Deb. I'm Stephane's wife, and I'm going to share with you some mobility exercises that can serve a bunch of different purposes. So maybe some of these movements will feel great as a preparation before you participate in your favorite sporting activities, especially badminton, but they can also be a great way to rejuvenate your body anytime throughout the day. If you've been sitting for a long time, if you're just feeling tense, great way to just create a more supple body and turn you into a better mover. Okay, so first thing, think about rolling your arms back. We're going to get some shoulder mobility going. So there'll be a little bit of rotation through your torso. I'll just show you a few reps. You can go fast or slow. You might even play around with the speed. So a great way to get some shoulder mobility. Now, if you want to get your wrists ready, clasp your fingers together, keep your elbows kind of tight, and then you make circles. And I remember doing this as a kid when I was prepping my wrists for gymnastics training. So you do a couple circles in one direction and then change directions. And then as well, keeping your arms pretty close to you, you can turn this into we used to call it a roller coaster when I was a kid, and then change directions. So great for some wrist mobility. It might even help with some wrist discomfort that you may be experiencing. Okay, let's think about feet and ankles. Feet about hip distance apart, that's going to help with your stability. Lift up onto the balls of your feet. Definitely going to work some balance here, but we're stretching through the arches of our feet. And then you can start to lower just until you feel comfortable or slightly uncomfortable. You may feel your ankles wiggle and wobble a bit. That's okay. And then lift back up, lower your ankles. Do several repetitions. So lift high as you can in the balls of your feet, then lower. So we're moving through our ankle joint, knee, and hip. Great way to get your calf muscle a little bit activated, really important for badminton. Okay, so maybe you do a few repetitions of that. So in order to get a little length through the back side of our body, hamstrings, glutes, especially from lots of sitting, I'll show you this from the front and the side. So it doesn't matter which leg you want to start with, bring one forward. You're going to press your hips back and reach your arms forward. Stand up, so open through the hips, then press back. I'll show you from the side. So ideally, you're keeping a nice long spine and you're moving from the hips. And this is going to look a little different on everyone. And then you do maybe 4, 5, or 10, however many repetitions. And again, I'm going a little bit fast right now, but you could go at a slower pace if that feels better. So now if we want to open up our hip flexors and a little bit more chest and shoulder mobility, take one leg back. We're going to open up so you feel a big stretch through the whole front side of your body. So again, I'm going to show you from the side. So you can see that I'm pressing my elbows back and I'm pushing my hip forward to stretch through my hip flexor, and then a little more chest opening. And this type of movement is really a great antidote to sitting. Okay, let's get a little more movement through our hips. So now you're going to take a step to the side. Your trail leg stays long, and you're going to press firmly into all 4 corners of both feet. So you've got to stretch through your inner thigh muscles, and then we get some lateral movement for our hips. So this leg kind of feels and looks like it's doing a squat, while your trail leg stays nice and long. If you'd like, you can add a reach and rotation, but think about hip, knee, and ankle lining up on this side, and then pressing into the pinky edge of the trail foot. Now, if your hips are feeling a little more mobile and you want to go further, you could start to bring this lower to the ground and then shift side to side. So again, it's going to look different on everyone. I'm pretty mobile because I practice a lot of this stuff. And you shift, so we get some great length through our adductor. Lots of hip mobility, getting a bit of a calf stretch if you really flex your foot. And just think of fluid motion from one side to the other. So you may be way up here like this. It doesn't matter. But my guess is if you try some of these things over time, you'll start to notice a big difference. Now, one last thing, really great for our hips, and that's going to help low back health, is a mobility squat. So depending on your flexibility, you're going to take your feet wide and turn your toes out so you've rolled your leg bones out. And you might be up here, depends on your hips. And then we're going to press and open up our legs. And then some of you may be able to drop your hips lower, and eventually you might get all the way down. Don't worry if your feet aren't flat on the floor. You might need to lift your heels. You might even put something like a box or some rolled up yoga mats, various things to give you a bit of support for your tush. And then you can move side to side. You can keep pressing open to help increase your hip mobility. I'm going to roll up, give your shoulders a couple rolls, and there you go. There's some ideas to help you become more mobile.